Well, I'm sure on his inside, he's thinking, my God, really? Did Jerry Jones have to ship him off to Green Bay a week before the season starts? But right here, he said all the right things, and he said exactly what you think Dan Campbell would say. This is a man who embraces a challenge. I mean, he took the Detroit Lions head coaching job. That's all you need to know about Dan Campbell. He's completely turned around this organization, and to be honest, I bet he's pretty glad that he gets to see Micah Parsons in week 1 when Micah Parsons won't be Micah Parsons quite yet. So that's kind of the ideal place to have him on the schedule. And the other part about this, the part Dan Campbell would never admit, but this actually takes some pressure off of the Lions. You look at those preseason odds, the Lions were kind of the favorite to win the division, or they were kind of tied with the Packers. But now that Micah Parsons is in Green Bay, the Packers are the favorite. The pressure's on Green Bay, so this absolutely takes a little bit of pressure off of Detroit. So Dan Campbell embracing the challenge, and you know what? He doesn't care. He's going to try and lead his team to a division title whether Parsons is there or not.
This is such a savvy coaching move because he's talking to the media, but he's actually talking past the media and talking to his team because he's projecting, hey, I'm not worried about some Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons this, Micah Parsons that. I don't care. We're the Detroit Lions. We're going to go out there and play our brand of football. We're physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. This is just another guy on another team that we're going to face out there on the field. So I love his approach because it's focusing on his team and getting those guys to not focus on who they added more so than, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, and this is who we are going to be for the rest of the season.
Now, Emery, Micah just started practicing. Despite what some Cowboys fans are saying on the internet, he is indeed dealing with a joint sprain in his back, so that was not fake, right? Mm-hmm. How fast do you think he'll be able to hit the ground running come Sunday against the Lions?
Well, if he's on the field, you got to think he's 100%, right? But at the end of the day, if he's on the field, and now that we know that he has some sort of back issue at whatever severity it is, guess what you're going to see, Micah Parsons? You're going to see a lot of Sam Laporta and also a lot of Brock Wright at the same time because they're going to put those two tight ends wherever he's lined up and try to see how physical he's going to be, how dominant he's going to try to be versus the run, and how healthy that back is because that's what I would do as a coach. That's the simplest thing you could do, try to test out a pass rusher, turn him into a run defender and see how he handles that. But if I'm Green Bay, I move him around. I try to move him at the second level because he did do that at Penn State. Try to move to the opposite side of the line of scrimmage as well. I may even be petty enough to put him on offense and leave out the all defense first 2 plays of the game. But at the end of the day, if you're the Detroit Lions, you're going to try to run right at Micah Parsons, see how much he wants to stop the run in week 1.
Yeah, the other thing here, though, is that it's almost a risk to send him out there and have him play, say, 100% of the defensive snaps. If you were the Packers, I mean, we're talking about someone who might be getting an injection in his back just to make sure he feels 100% going into this game. And there's really 3 factors that kind of lead me to believe we're not going to see a lot of Micah Parsons on Sunday. Number 1, he has to get in football shape. He hasn't practiced since June when he showed up and did some individual drills for the Cowboys at mandatory minicamp. So now you only have 1 week of practice to get into football shape, and it doesn't seem like he'll be 100% there by the time Sunday rolls around. Number 2, he has to learn the defense. Emery just mentioned that, hey, we can throw him all over the field. Well, he has to know what he's doing, so he's going to have to learn as much of this playbook as possible, kind of learning and taking in from the fire hose is what he's doing here, and so we'll see how much he has learned by the time Sunday rolls around. And then obviously the back injury is another factor. The worst thing the Packers could do here is send him out earlier or send him out too early. He aggravates the injury, and now he's out for several weeks. So I do think they will play it very, very not risky, and I'll be surprised if he plays more than 50% of the defensive snaps on Sunday.
The Dolphins announced captains for the 2025 season, and Tyreek Hill wasn't among them. This is the first time since Hill joined the Dolphins back in 2022 that he was not voted as one of the team's leaders. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel explained Miami's process in selecting team captains on Monday.
I'm really excited about the whole voting process this year in general because, each team is unique to its own, and this team, I think was much more unified, and the focus on those 6 guys were very clear. So they were resounding vote getters, and I think it speaks to the team. I think knew the assignment a little bit more, and we're focused on giving the keys of captainship to those that had earned it each and every day. And I think that's what it speaks to me the most, is a football team that knows who they want to be led by.
Oh, Mike McDaniel with some pretty interesting words about the Dolphins captains this season. Emery, simply put, did Miami make the right call making Hill not a captain this season?
Well, if you think about what we have all heard about Tyreek Hill this offseason in particular, it's probably right that they didn't go with him as a captain, because I'm looking at it as if this is a guy that has been 1 foot in, 1 foot out in terms of wanting to be in Miami. So if the team is thinking, hey, we only want guys that are all in that want to be here. And yeah, we know he's one of the best players of the field, on the field. We know he's going to make a ton of plays, and we know players are going to go look to him for leadership in these tough moments because he's such a great playmaker. But in terms of being a captain, they want someone that embodies what the team mindset is and what being a part of a team is. Not saying Tyreek Hill doesn't feel that way deep down, but just the noise around him, I understand this move by the Dolphins brass.
Yeah, and Mike McDaniel used some interesting words there. The number one that popped in my head is unified. So the team was very unified around the captains they picked, and it was a resounding vote. That means the team was unified against Tyreek Hill to not make him a captain for the first time. So it feels like we saw Tyreek make that kind of pseudo trade request back in January. And there's a forgive and forget element here. Maybe the Dolphins have forgiven him, but they certainly have not forgotten, because it seems like some of his teammates have still been rubbed the wrong way about how Tyreek Hill has just acted this entire offseason. We saw Tua at the beginning of training camp essentially say, yeah, he's still got to work to rebuild trust. When you're talking to the media, he could just said, yeah, we're all on the same page now. Tyreek Hill's my best friend, and then work things out behind closed doors. That's not what happened. Tua just straight up kind of called out Tyreek Hill. So it doesn't seem like he is in great standing with his teammates. If he can put up big numbers on the field, maybe he can get back in their good graces. But right now, it kind of feels like this could eventually lead to a divorce. But even if that happens, Tyreek Hill is there for 2025, and his teammates are going to want to see some leadership from him on the field.
In Pittsburgh, the Steelers and running back Jaylen Warren have agreed to terms on a 2-year extension that will keep him in the Steel City through the 2027 season. The deal includes $12 million in guaranteed money. Warren is slated to become the full-time starter with Najee Harris now with the Chargers. Here's what Warren says the deal means to him.
You dream about, but I didn't know it was gonna come this soon. I'm grateful I did.
Jaylen, it wasn't easy for you when you came in as an undrafted free agent. What was the key to go from a UDFA to a guy that's now getting paid and has RB1 status for his team?
I guess just working every day. I never looked toward the future. I always stayed present in that moment and whatever panned out for me.